Marilyn Monroe, the golden girl of Hollywood, leaves behind a glittering and tragic legend. Presentation to the Queen of England was but one climax in a life that began drearily as an unwanted child and ended in a lonely, self-inflicted death 36 years later. A queen in her own realm of entertainment, she was the only woman known the world over by her two initials. A tour of army bases in Korea in 1954 brought GIs the beauty and vivacity that made her an undisputed symbol in her time. As soldiers adored her, so did men wherever in the world her films were played, and that was everywhere. Yet for all the happiness this bubbling comedienne brought into the lives of millions, she was seldom able to find it lastingly for herself. Her second marriage to baseball hero Joe DiMaggio lasted less than a year, though he remained one of her most devoted and protective friends. Playwright Arthur Miller was her last husband and wrote her last completed film, but the marriage failed. Miss Monroe came often to New York, and whenever she made a personal appearance, her fans saw only the exuberant, carefree image she projected on the screen. Her appearances on movie sets or on location were not always so carefree, but whatever her personal and professional difficulties might have been, the world lost something radiant when Marilyn Monroe took her leave of it.
One of the most famous stars in Hollywood history is dead at 36. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in bed under circumstances that were in tragic contrast to her glamorous career as a comic talent. On the surface, she seemed to have such a zest for life. Her international appeal took her from command appearances to the other side of the world and entertainment for Korean GIs. The star led a far from normal childhood and had 12 sets of foster parents, leading her to say in her last interview that she was never used to being happy, so it wasn't something she ever took for granted. She never let her personal feelings interfere with her job, and she was the idol of the GIs, the animation of foxhole dreams. She found no happiness in marriage. Her second husband was baseball immortal Joe DiMaggio, and that marriage ended as had her first in divorce. Her third husband was playwright Arthur Miller, and they too separated. Miss Monroe played in 23 films since her debut in 1950, films that grossed $200 million. The Golden Girl received 5,000 fan letters a week, and to those fans, she never let any personal problems dim her screen glamour. Despite flashes of temperament and tantrums, she turned in performances that kept her among the greatest box office favorites in motion picture history.